apparently the back is forbidden, and we can just never go back there ever
It's a
again.
Faraday cage back there.
Yeah.
That's the reason why.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. So you guys don't get to see the MGA. Sorry, because I was going to try to put it over in this empty space, but we're working on it, so we need the lift, so it has to stay in the back. And apparently my Wi-Fi amplifier is just garbage and doesn't do anything.
But you have a lift.
Yeah, but I have a lift.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
we were rolling around in the dirt. Well, not so much in the dirt at the parking lot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we were both over that. We're too old for that.
Yeah, so far, since Tom got here, we got it up in the air, and belly pans came off, radiator hoses drained all of that, radiator's coming out, exhaust is off.
Contemplating where to put more weight in the
Yeah,
nose.
yeah, trying to figure out more weight. Tom's taking some interior stuff out to get to where we can put more weight, so the seat has to come out, a lot of the interior sheet metal has to come out.
We've all done it before, though, so it's not that big of a.
Yeah.
It's not the first time we've done it, so
Yeah.
it's a lot easier. And I've got 2.5 days to get you kick-started. And
Yeah.
I think we're going to get a lot done.
Yeah.
2.5 days.
I hope so, because there's a big laundry list of
5
stuff.
weeks.
Yeah, and it has to go back in the truck and trailer in 5 weeks to go to Bonneville. So, yeah. So if anybody's watching, make sure to get questions in, and thanks for your patience with the Wi-Fi stuff, because it is aggravating. But, yeah, get the questions in, and we can answer those. This El Mirage, we didn't set any records. We went faster the first meet, but we learned stuff. And more seat time in the car, got more stuff figured out. And the big thing is we figured out, I think the main reason it feels so unstable is there's only 4.5 degrees of caster in the car, and it's not.
It's light too.
Yeah, and it's not adjustable, so we can't just adjust the caster on it like a normal car. We have to do some serious.
fabricating.
Yeah.
So Dave Nordell says hi from New Zealand. So that's
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah,
cool.
thanks for
Look
watching
at-
from New Zealand.
We
Yeah.
have Kiwi Steve helping us from afar.
Yeah.
So we do have a New Zealander on our crew.
Yeah, we do have a New Zealander on the crew. Todd Englert says, Mike, he saw a Pettingill hammer for sale. Don't know if you're interested or not.
Probably not. I'm cheap and I'm race car broke.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Tom might be interested though.
You want a Pettingill?
No, I have that. I have a
Yeah.
Mettler hammer. I
Mm.
gotta put that together.
But if you want, send me the information and I can store it away and pass it on to somebody that is in the market. Because
Yeah.
I do get a lot of inquiries looking for vintage machinery.
SJR Production says we're back, which we are, and then Marcus says everything's working good now. So that's good to
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
hear. So keep us updated if something goes kind of funky.
Yeah. Like I said, it's just the back room.
One thing I'd like to say about the car is it is a very well-built,
Yeah.
competent car.
Mhm.
It just was never run hard enough to fully develop it, and that's
Yeah.
kind of what we're doing is
Yeah.
developing it. No, we're not re-engineering anything. We're not rebuilding anything.
Yeah.
Everything we're working on is really nicely done.
Mhm.
It
Yeah.
just needs
Ironed
it's
out.
a race car, yeah.
Yeah.
So, so that's it's a good place to be.
Yeah.
It's-
Yeah, and the stuff we're changing other than like the caster and adding more weight is just stuff that's going to fit me better. Like the cage is a
Yeah.
little tall, so
Yeah.
I'm going to cut the cage off and lower it 4 or
Yeah.
5 inches to fit me as a driver better, and just that kind of stuff.
won't help me out any.
No, I don't think you fit too well in the car anyway.
So, yeah, but it's a really well-built car, has
Yeah.
plenty of power, and it's going to be fun to develop it and see what we can do with it.
Yeah. Yeah, because we kind of got off topic, but when we were at El Mirage, we went 149, 150, and 151.
Steady increase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like when I went last month, the first run out the door was 158 and then 182 when we spun. But I think that was because I hate to say ignorant, but I didn't know anything about the car and I'd never gone that fast on the dirt. So I just thought that's how it felt. And then when we figured out, oh yeah, it only has 4.5 degrees of caster, it made
Right,
me
made more sense.
it made me a little more nervous and apprehensive to push it as hard because I knew it was going to be a fight.
Well, it's a learning curve.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's why sometimes ignorance is better.
sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes.
You don't know what you don't know.
That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But we're learning the car now.
Yeah.
And I think we got a lot out of the last 2 meets, and it was well worth it to keep the car the second
I think
time.
so.
Even though we didn't go as fast as we wanted to, but
Yeah. And Jamie can chime in. This was her first El Mirage
yeah.
meet, and
Yeah.
it was interesting. The
Yeah.
weather was bad. The first
yeah.
first night was a little rough. Second day was pretty rough with wind, and then Sunday was beautiful. We made 3 runs on a
Nice.
one-day meet.
We should thank our other crew members, my daughter
Yep.
Kaylin Stewart and Shug and Irene Hanchard?
Yeah, Henchard.
Hanchard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And-
don't know if they're watching, but if they
And
are.
Jamie.
Yeah.
We had
You're welcome.
a lot of hot dogs.
Yeah.
That's a leftover from my previous
Yes.
crew, the Jessel truck. We
Yep.
had a lot of hot dogs on that crew, and it worked for us then.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and,
Yeah.
and we're going to do some videos, obviously, since the live's not going to work, and you guys really haven't seen the car yet. We're going to do some walk-around videos that'll be on the main feed, not live events, and just kind of tell you about it.
it's a
You
pretty
know?
special car.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. We're dubbing the car Lyme disease, Lime, because of color. And currently, Jeff Norwell is doing artwork, so we're going to have some T-shirts, posters,
Buy a
stickers.
t-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a
Hot car
couple
racing.
comments, questions. So Big Wig says they have $1,000 to get started metal shaping. What should they buy? I'm assuming tool wise.
$1,000. I would say a good hammer and dolly set. Probably 2 hammers, 4 or 5 dollies. Good set of snips. Trying to think, 1,000's not going to get you too far.
Layout tools, maybe?
Yeah, good layout tools, a good shot bag, and a good shaping mallet, and that'd be a good place to start. I'd probably put you in about $700 for that kind of stuff, but it would be good enough to be dangerous.
Yeah.
And then take a class.
Yeah,
Yeah, take a class.
yeah. But I'd say Martin hammers and dollies, Midwest snips, good markers, good center punch, some radius gauges. Not trying to upsell my own stuff, but you know, with
Yeah.
all of that stuff, I only sell tools that I use in the shop all the time. So it's not like I'm just, I'm not going to sham wow you like razzle dazzle, but
Maybe you should make a kit.
Yeah.
A beginner kit.
yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be
it's
kind
not
of
a
cool.
bad idea. Somebody wants to see the car, and like Mike said, we'll have to show you that in a video because our internet connection is what?
Yeah, as soon as we walk back there, it'll die again, and
It's not worth it.
yeah,
There is a ton of pictures on our Instagram and
Yeah.
Facebook
Yeah.
feeds.
Instagram
yeah,
and
and
Facebook.
I'm gonna put Jamie on it maybe tonight. We're gonna do a dedicated folder for like El Mirage and working on the car
Oh, okay.
for last month.
Yeah, we took a lot of photos, so
Yep.
it's worthwhile.
Marcus wants to know when you spun out, what was the goal speed? I'm assuming it's probably your goal speed overall.
Yeah, the overall goal speed is we want to go 200. That would get us in the 200 mile an hour El Mirage Club and get us a record at El Mirage. So we were shooting for 200 while learning the car, and
Also a B license upgrade.
yeah,
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's between 175 and 200 miles an hour is your B competition license.
yep,
So that was that too.
yeah.
Yeah. Phil Alexander said 16 degrees worked great for us back in the day. That as much weight as they could strap to it, just his 2 cents, or which
That's
sounds familiar.
Yeah, yeah, because when we found out
Those
it
are
was,
good numbers.
yeah, when it was 4.5, I'm like, wow, we're 10 to 12 shy of where I was
Yeah.
hoping to be. Because I think in the red car, I think I've got like 22 degrees of caster in it. I like to run 12 to 13 degrees on the street.
Mhm.
So when it was 4.5, I'm like, ugh.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So hopefully that should be able to stabilize things a little bit more. And I'd like to see 700 to 1,000 pounds if we can squeeze it in there.
Yeah.
And we're going to work to keep the CP and the CG correct. Because the one thing that happened in the spin was it wasn't a full spin. It kind of came over a little bit past 90 and straightened out. And in the SCTA news, there's an article on center of gravity, center of pressure, aerodynamic stuff. And it specifically says the best way, if your CG and your CP are right, if you get out of sorts, it'll straighten it out for you.
The video shows it just snapped back
Yep.
straight too. It's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, so that just shows that we had our CP and CG close to correct. And I think more of that was course and the caster issue. I don't think aerodynamically we had much to worry about.
No.
Yeah.
No. Not at 100. I mean, some at 180, but not dramatic.
Yeah.
Fabit here, they are just trying to get used to the new time. And then Marcus wants to know if you can show the markers you use for layout that they work much better than black.
Yeah. Markers I use for layout are just blue Sharpie brand Sharpies. Ultra fine tip and for like trim lines, and then just regular felt tip for light lines, shrink marks, all of that stuff.
For some reason, the blue ones work better than the black ones.
Yeah, the
Don't
ink
know why.
lasts way better.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like you can use a black one and it'll dry up in a day.
Yeah.
A blue one will last
lasts
forever. Yeah, and on our trip home from El Mirage, well, Jamie didn't even talk about if she liked it.
I liked it. It was fine.
Yeah.
The only thing I didn't like was there was a lot of wind
Yeah.
on
That was rough.
Friday and Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sunday was pretty good though.
Yeah.
Sunday
So,
was
which
as
was
good
what
as it
mattered.
was, yeah. You always want a slight breeze, because if you don't have a smooth breeze to clear the course from the previous car, then you're waiting to run because you can't see the finish line.
Yeah.
So
True.
it was actually pretty much perfect
Yeah.
on Sunday.
Yeah.
And the course was really nice, and SCTA put on a great meet, and I don't think there was any incidents of any type.
No.
And it was really smooth. Your first meet was probably the best one you
Yeah.
could go to, other than the 2 days before. That was
Yeah.
rough.
Other than the 2 days before,
Hurricane
agreed.
Force winds.
Yeah. RHB said the blue looks cleaner as well for the Sharpies.
Yeah.
And then Grease Spot Garage said they've been wanting to call us. They're in Cleveland, and they want to know if you make custom side moldings for cars.
I can. I don't really like to, but I would definitely need the car here for that. And the problem with doing that is the shop is always full, and right now you'd be looking about 3 to 4 years of a wait to get the car in to make molding. So it's not ideal, but we can. It's making trim and molding is just brutal. It has to be perfect.
Not your favorite.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And then on the way home, we did it about 2.5 days.
Yeah.
And we hit some Route 66 stuff along the way, and
What was that Texas barbecue place? Like, I've seen that on
the
movies.
Big Texan.
Yeah, I've seen that a bunch of
Yeah,
times.
that's
Is it-
eat a 72-ounce steak and dinner's free.
How'd you do?
Oh, we didn't even eat it. We watched other people fail miserably.
Yeah, we watched 4 young guys. They
Yeah.
probably were like young enough to not regret that decision until too late, and
Yeah.
they made it. They did not finish, but it was funny.
At
Watching.
the end, because then you could see the regret in their face.
Yeah, it got like their heads were in their hands and stuff. It was pretty
Oh,
funny.
no.
Yeah.
And then other part that was kind of interesting. I didn't realize they did it, but they kind of sat as family style too. So we
Yeah.
sat next to people we didn't know and got to talk to people
Oh, that's
from
cool.
Arkansas and
Arkansas
Texas.
and Dallas.
But it
They
was
were
fun.
on.
It was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it's on my list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you saw the Cadillac.
Yeah, went to
range.
Cadillac Ranch.
Yeah.
That's neat.
Yeah, and we went to Uranus.
You went to Uranus,
Yeah,
I
to the Fudge
saw those
Factory.
pictures,
the
yeah.
Fudge Factory. Yeah. Dennis wants to know if I'm going out again, and if so, I need a car. I probably would
I agree with that.
go out again. I don't know if I would want a car. I was telling Mike, I feel a little bit better about El Mirage because I feel like I can see the track better, and maybe because it's shorter than Bonneville, because I feel like, and I also feel like it's so bright at Bonneville too. I don't know. I
Oh,
feel like
it
it's
is.
hard to
Yeah.
see. Like my eyes hurt
It's,
out
it's
there.
tough, yeah.
Yeah, so that's my fear, concern.
Yeah. So I guess we got to find her a ride at El Mirage.
But I don't know about all that.
Well, you know you already did the first step.
What,
you-
going?
No, well, you went, and then you also were in the
In the push
MG
truck?
under tow, right? Or
Yeah.
push.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
forgot what it was. Didn't I push you over?
Yeah, you pushed
Yeah.
her from
Yeah,
where we slept
yeah,
the first
you
night.
did. You
That is
did.
the first step of driving a race car is under, in
Yeah.
kids, under push.
Yeah.
And
So
then
you're partway there already.
Grease Spot also says, oh, dang, they have a 63 Bel Air that they want different style moldings on. And then the Artman 40 or 410 said, at least you got there before the wave is over. I don't know what that quite means.
Not sure what that means.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know.
Before the wait is over?
It says wave.
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe explain that a little bit because I'm not sure if I'm understanding, but I was trying to scroll up to see if I missed something. But okay. Drive home was pretty uneventful. We just had that one tire on the trailer.
Low.
Yep. Yeah, so we have a TPS system on the trailer, so it monitors all 6 tires' pressures and temperatures live. So we were coming up to Amarillo, and we got a notification that we dropped 10 pounds on the tire and pulled off before it went flat. And one of the valve stems was leaking, so we just swapped it out, saved a brand new tire from getting shredded from no
Yeah.
pressure.
Yeah.
And-
In the side of the trailer,
Yeah.
everything else.
And we were able to stop not on the side of the road, like we were
Yeah,
able to
yeah,
pull
we made
off
it to an exit.
and
Nice.
exit with an underpass, so that way
Was
we
it
could.
hot?
No, it wasn't too bad because there was a rainstorm around.
There was a rainstorm that was like coming. We're like, uh-oh. But luckily you beat it. I think I do have some pictures of that. So
Yeah, it was like a 10-minute
add 'em.
stop. I got tire changes on the side of the road.
Got it figured out.
Yeah. Except you needed 2 jacks.
Yeah, because with the car in there and all the lead,
All that lead.
I had to use 2 jacks to lift it.
Yeah, that was kind of fun.
That's, you couldn't drive the other tires on a block?
I probably could, but I always leave the jacks at the back so then I can just drag them out and pump it
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Oh, Artman was talking about the heat wave. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And that's also what we just got hit with a big storm. So hopefully that brings the temperature down a little bit.
It rained pretty hard a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
I'm not
pouring
used to that.
for sure.
Yeah, so what other questions you guys got? Because we're going to usually take these, I think, about 5:30 to 6. We started a little late so we can run a little bit later. But we also have work to do, and then have to take Tom to dinner. So I don't know where
Yeah.
Tom wants to go to dinner.
Any place.
I didn't know if you wanted to go to the turf club since that's your favorite.
My favorite is pretty far out, though, isn't it?
It's 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It just depends.
The other
I've had
thing.
2 bags of United Airlines pretzels so far.
Oh,
Yeah?
Yeah. They're my favorite, but they're really little.
the other thing I was thinking too was he probably hasn't had La Rosas yet either.
No?
So that'd be a good one.
I'm-
Cincinnati food's always good.
Yeah. Or we could do your favorite, the chili spaghetti.
Yeah.
Whatever. At this point, anything would be just fine.
He loves Skyline, so we've already
We've already ruined them.
ruined him, which is
Oh,
good.
You're
that
almost
the-
you're almost a Cincinnati native now.
Is that
Yeah.
the neon place?
No, that's the chili
The
spaghetti.
chili spaghetti. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good too.
Yeah.
I had no idea Cincinnati was known for chili.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was news to me. I
Mm.
would have never guessed that. But it's true.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Phil wants to know, did you get the sequential shifter for the new car yet? Or have you gotten used to the left-hand setup now?
I have the sequential shifter. It's not in the car. It's still in the box. I had it at El Mirage last meet, but it was not in the car.
Kind of a bigger project than we wanted to tackle in the dirt.
Yeah. I think I'm managing with the left-hand shift just fine.
I haven't noticed
Yeah.
any.
Yeah, I've not really been struggling with it. The biggest thing I notice is I actively have to be thinking about it, is where the position is because it's totally foreign. I do want to put the sequential shifter on it. It'll take one more variable out of my mind. And that's what I found with racing is if you have too much going on, you're going to miss something. So just
Right.
streamline it, make it simple. And
Did that mess you up when we did the push off?
I think that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, you're just like.
Well, I wasn't used to
Your
it,
first
and
shift
and
is
I
a
and I
H pattern.
yeah,
shift.
it felt in a weird spot, and I wasn't used to how it felt. Like I thought it was in
You did-
neutral.
You did fine.
Yeah,
Plus, we got that cool video from Tony Thacker.
yeah.
Yeah.
Push off video.
Marcus said, don't forget about Lori's.
Yeah.
And then SJR1 Productions said, was the car having traction issues?
Nope, no traction issues.
Not at all.
Nope. It's mainly just like, so what it does is on the dirt, it seems to want to hunt, and that's not normal.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. But with only 4.5 degrees of caster, I think that is extremely amplified. Because on the red car, even though we're running quite a bit slower, it hunts a little bit, but it feels stable. The MGA,
It's
it
not
hunts a
s-
little bit and it does not feel stable.
It's not self-correcting.
Yeah.
Which the increased caster will give you.
Yeah.
Because my Monza hunted like crazy, but it always went straight.
Yeah.
It was self-correct because I had I think 8 degrees caster in that. That's as much as I could get at that time.
Yeah.
Do you think
Yeah.
it'll be different at Bonneville because the surfaces are
No.
same?
Yeah, same.
It depends on how tight the salt is. If it's tight, it will be fine. But if it's loose, like it has been, then we will want the caster. It'll be more like a Mirage. I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it essentially felt like driving on ice at 150 mile an hour. Like it was just
Yeah.
all over, and
Yeah.
it felt
Really
so
well.
unstable due to the caster that's like, in a split second, it's going to turn around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have any confidence,
Yeah.
and I think that's why ignorance is bliss sometimes. Because I'm like, it's got plenty of caster in it. Don't worry about it. And then you're like 4.5, and I'm like, ooh,
Yeah.
that's not nearly enough. So then I was very apprehensive and took it easy.
Right. That's okay. It's seat time.
Yeah.
You're learning the car. You're learning the throttle, the shifter, the
Yeah.
steering.
And a lot
You
of
know,
times I
you
get
more comfortable in the car.
Yeah, it felt stable until we hit like 145-ish. And then that's when I could feel it starting to move around a lot more when we needed that caster because the air was picking up.
Yeah.
And then if I rolled into the throttle more, the boost would come in, and that's when I could feel it starting to want to be even more unstable. So I kind of short shifted and stayed out of the boost.
You haven't driven it hard enough to break traction now.
No.
Off the truck maybe, but not
Yeah.
in a track.
And that's the good thing too, is I took one of our old laptops and downloaded the data logger software so we could look at it, and we can see that we never really broke traction. We can see what the suspension was doing, compression, decompression, the GPS speedometer, GPS location on course, all of that stuff is really good data, and it shows like what I was feeling isn't lift, it isn't downforce, and it's not a traction issue. It's just the car floating around on the dirt, looking to go straight.
Dennis wants to know how much more weight with the shifter on, the sequential shifter, I think.
The sequential shifter is not going to add much in weight.
Oh no, yeah, it's just a convenience to the driver situation.
Yeah, and like weight, like I said, I'd like to put as much as we can.
600 to 800 pounds more.
Yeah, I think if we could get 1,000 in it, I'd take it. But I wish we could show you on the car. It's going to be hard to fit that much weight. There's just not a lot of room for it.
Yeah, we'll figure it out over time, but in the limited amount of time we have before Speed Week this year, we're just going to get what we get.
Yeah.
The art man wants to know any tips on making Pullmax dies.
The best thing that I do is I make a body filler mold or cast a mold of the profile and use that as your first set to match. That's the best thing. I found that way easier than a pin gauge, and use whatever tools you have. I mean, a hacksaw, Bridgeport, grinder, whatever you got just to carve it out.
You have a good YouTube video on that process.
Yeah. I always forget that I've got a YouTube video
There's
on
a real
it.
good one.
Yeah, there you go.
So check that out in our, I think it's just in our metal shaping category there.
Okay. Clutch wants to know any input on panel gaps, door defender, specifically pie cut and fill gap, or weld, round, stock, and grind?
It depends on the application. I liked it before paint, all in raw metal. I like 3/16 to a quarter. It depends on the panel and how it moves. And I always talk to the guy doing the paint work to see what they want. A lot of times I don't do the round bar thing just because the round bar isn't going to get you what you need. So I would come into the quarter. We can migrate over here. So say this gap was too big, I would come in and I would cut this and I would move that over, or I would come in and just build up a little bit of weld here. It just depends on the application. If I were to weld a piece of round bar on it, then we're going to have to weld both sides of it and dress it and grind it back. So round bar, you can do that, but it's usually too much and it's a lot of work. Or you can just TIG weld at low amps and build that up and extend it out. Or even come over here and pie cut, split the difference. Whatever you have to do.
The art man asked if we have a video on that, but he might be asking about the pull, because he asked about the Pullmax dies.
Yeah, we do have the
hopefully
video.
That's what he was asking. And then Big Wave.
Because it was, if it's not a dedicated video, it was on the Cadillac under hood panels where I cast that center peak off the top hood and used it underneath.
Yeah.
Okay. Big Wig wants to know: do you weld sheet metal one bead if you can get to the backside to dolly?
Yes. Big proponent of long continuous welds, no short stitches.
Oh, he said can't get to the backside, but it's
that's the thing. You can always get to the backside.
Yeah.
It just depends on how much work you want to do. No matter what, if you weld the sheet metal, you're going to have to hammer and dolly it. There's no such thing as a warp-free weld. So you have to get to the backside. If you think you don't have access, you're going to have to take the whole panel off at factory spot weld seams. It is what it is. Other than that, you're not going to be able to get all the, you're not going to get everything stretched back out. So you have to have access to be able to stretch it. So I don't think there's any panel that's no access. You just have to make access.
So skipping, Dan Van Lannen said truth, and then SJR1 Productions said, yeah, the more caster, the straighter she goes down with front downforce.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and like I said, we didn't build the MGA. It was built over in England, and it's got a front end kit on it, but it's like a Jaguar upright tubular control arm, and I'm guessing they just didn't have a lot of caster in them. For a street car setup, it is what it is, And I think that's the issue.
I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
There's no adjustment. That's the issue
Yeah.
that we're going to be fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's
there's a minimal adjustment with shims, but talking just a tiny amount.
yeah.
So we're going to have to fabricate something, or remake an upper control arm, or like move the lower control arm back
Yeah.
or forward.
Yeah. We'll get it figured out.
Yeah, it's not going to be impossible. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Dennis said Carl at Japan's has a few videos on making dies, one with the help of your video.
Yeah. Nice.
I'm like, I can't remember if he didn't do that when he was here. I don't
No,
think,
we
but-
talked about it though.
Yeah. I was like, I feel like you talked about it, but
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So I wish we could go back there and show them the car because it is exciting. Like I do love the car.
Yeah.
We're just gonna have to do some
We get a
videos.
lot of positive response. That's
Yeah.
what's really nice. People
Yeah.
just walked up to us in the pit and said, "This is my favorite car that
Yeah.
I made," which is quite an honor to
Yeah.
get somebody to say that.
Well, like the cool thing is like Danny Thompson told me that. Like he didn't say it was his favorite, but he came up and he's like, I love this car.
And the color, people tend to
Yeah.
love the color. And on my Instagram and Facebook, people really are commenting that they really love the car.
Yeah.
And so that's nice. I mean,
Mhm.
people don't have to do that. They do it.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
They
Yeah. And like
feel good about
Dan Shaw, the pinstriper, is gonna
uh-huh.
come over tomorrow.
Oh,
We're gonna add
Yeah.
some aesthetic cues to it,
yeah.
kind of paying back to the original MG.
Sterling Moss.
Yeah,
days.
Sterling Moss days. So
Yeah.
I'll be excited to show you guys that once we get on his schedule. It's not going to be a ton of stuff and not crazy lettering or striping, just some accents that tie it all together. And that'll be cool. And
Good.
Cody Wallington wants to see the front suspension setup of the MGA, which we'll just make sure we include
we'll have
that.
to do a video of it.
Yep.
It's basically Hoyle MGB aftermarket control arms and then XKE spindle. But yeah, we'll take some pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Or even some videos. Because like the problem is it mounts and then you've got some real thin shims.
that's it.
That's it. And you
Yeah.
can get maybe a couple degree out of it, if that.
Yeah.
But we want some serious adjustment. So we're looking at taking the lower control arm off. It's held on with 4 bolts, and then making a plate to bridge that, and then re-drilling and moving that arm forward so it really lays that spindle back.
And then we'll reset the pump steer.
Yeah.
Which we found out we can do.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be not a big deal.
Yeah, we got to
Good.
do that, and then we'll reset the toe and just get everything done. But the big thing before Bonneville on our list is caster, weight, and radiator.
Mhm.
Everything else is
Excellent.
little jobs that I
Improve-
can tinker with.
Improvements.
Yeah.
But it's not gonna stop the car from going. It's just maintenance issues that make a car easier to work on.
Yep.
But we can deal with that.
Mhm.
Not a big deal.
The Art Man says Carl just got a P3 Pool Max.
Nice.
That's awesome. And then Razor Sharp says cheers to everyone from Arizona.
Yeah, we just
drove
all
through
the
there,
way across Arizona
all the
other
way
day.
across it.
I wonder if it was that P3 in Wisconsin that was for sale.
It might have been.
That was a really good deal if you got that one.
Yeah, hopefully. Lassie said, I can't believe how many of your cars are approved for street use. In Sweden, there are so many rules for modified cars.
Yeah, I wouldn't listen to the rules anyway. I almost drove the MG down to my buddy's shop the other day when I got it out and it was sitting out front. I'm like, don't have plates. It's got land speed tires on it. I thought about just ripping it down, but I'm like,
Could have hung that California plate on it.
yeah, it's laying back there. I had it out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Phil says, do we have a GoFundMe link for a good Wi-Fi setup for the race shop? The other part with that, Phil, is I don't know if we have the patience to do that.
Yeah, because like, that's the problem is I got a bunch of Wi-Fi
We buy extenders.
extenders, and like we can watch YouTube back there on the TV, but as soon as we walk through that door, it dies on the phone.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's something with the phone.
Well, I don't know if it's the phone or if it's just not strong enough to stream.
Or there's,
Oh, that's the upload speed is not
Yeah.
good enough.
yeah, and all of this stuff too.
Yeah,
It's
I mean
all,
it's metal roof,
metal
and then I've got a
roof.
bunch of metal junk hanging in the ceiling. So,
So-
like you said, it's a Faraday cage.
yeah. And then Phil says he wants to see the race shop.
Yeah. Well, we won't go in, but we
Okay.
can.
Go to the door.
We'll go to the door.
See what we can show you before we
I think the
dip out.
doorway is safe,
The doorway.
and then Jamie can pan around from the doorway.
I wonder if I can zoom. Can I zoom with this?
Yeah, I don't know if you can or not.
I don't think I can. Let's see how far I can go.
Yeah, you can. So just like in Indiana Jones, don't
Okay, don't
cross
step
the seal.
over the threshold.
Yeah, don't cross the seal. So. Yeah, because you can.
Oh, hold on.
See the GT over there?
Yeah, you can see the GT tucked over there, and then the MG on the lift. and then the Hanchard Special on the table. So Tom mentioned Shug and Irene on our crew. That is the same Hanchards that owned the Roadster.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you can't see the Streamliner because it's kind of
Ooh.
tucked behind, or the Rouster Roadster.
I can zoom.
Yeah, cool.
Oh,
Yeah. So there's the MGA. You can see part of it. You can see that sweet blower sticking through the hood.
Hopefully it's not too grainy.
Yeah, it looks all right on our
Hopefully
end.
someone says something, because I'm not getting a spinny wheel, but I'm also not getting any comments. So
Yeah. So if it,
somebody tell me thumbs up or something.
yeah. Yeah. You should be all right because I mean we've got full service on the camera or on the phone.
Looks good. Okay. Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Yep. Good. Yeah. I wish we could go back there, but we can't.
I don't know if I can zoom out now. There's a
Was this the
GT40.
original area for the archery range?
No, so the
That
main
was-
building was the archery range. This was built in the 80s by the grand piano guy.
Oh, they
and this was
restored-
just storage for pianos.
Storage for grand pianos.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, they would come in and there were 100 pianos in what is now the race shop. And then they
That's
would do
wild.
all the repairs and repainting and everything up front.
Well, hopefully you guys can see some of it now. I
Yeah.
might be able to zoom up a little bit more.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep, so, yeah, so let's get those questions in. And we'll start wrapping things up on our live feed. That way Tom and I can get back to work and we can go feed Tom since he's living on pretzels.
Yeah. It's kind of.
We don't want to starve him on day one, maybe
Yeah.
day 3.
Yeah.
Yep.
You want to back up a little bit.
Okay. So yeah, get those questions in, and while you guys think of stuff, again, the shrinking discs we sold out 2 weeks ago. 50 blanks showed up today, so I'm probably going to start stamping those tomorrow.
Those are the serrated ones?
Yep. Yeah, so we'll stamp those. They're going to go back on the web store tonight. Since the blanks are here, I can stamp them and get them out to you ASAP. So keep an eye out for those if you want one of the serrated style. Also, the radius gauge number 2, the red ones, we just got 25 or 50 of those from the engraver today. So I'm going to update that tonight, and those will be back in stock.
Those are really handy too.
Yeah.
Easy to hold on to.
Yeah.
I like 'em.
Yeah, I like that they're round instead of rectangle.
Yeah.
So Dan said you have so much more metal there than he has. It's too awesome. David Norwell said thanks for the sneak peek.
Yeah.
Wayne.
yeah.
And stay tuned for videos on that. We just got to peer
Yeah.
pressure Jamie. I should give you all her personal cell phone number so you can text her to do videos.
I'm a busy bee. Wayne said the GT40 is sick. Marcus said we are right at the edge, that the audio is breaking up a little bit.
Yeah.
So good thing we didn't go much further.
Yeah, like I said, you can't cross the seal.
I can't
Yeah, you can't take the cup across the seal.
Dennis said, great Zoom. Thanks, Dennis. I need Dennis to pump up my ego, that's
Yeah.
for sure. Razor Sharp said, when you weld on a panel or on a piece of metal and it warps, what's the best tool to get that flat as possible?
Hammer and dolly, anything you can use that will stretch that weld back out. So what happens that causes the warping is the atoms get hot, they expand out from the heat, they push into the cold area around it, creating a shrink, and then as everything cools, it contracts back, and that gives you your warping, as it's pulling in to that weld and that heat affected zone. So you need to go in there and hammer and dolly that out to correct it. And that's why you always have to have back access, so you can get behind it with something to hammer on dolly and stretch that back out to correct the warping.
He said, thank you for that. And then Phil said, thanks for the live today. Awesome to see and hear a bit about the race car and see it live for the first time. Appreciate us taking the time to do it. And he knows how valuable time is.
Yeah, and
Thanks
if we
for
get-
watching, Phil.
Yeah, if we get everything back together for the most part this weekend,
I hope so, yeah.
maybe since it's just on the lift, we could always roll it outside because we actually get fine service outside.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah,
maybe
we-
next Thursday we can have it outside the door, weather
Yeah.
permitting, and we could do a walk around then and maybe a startup so everybody can hear it because it's
Sounds great.
it's pretty rowdy sounding.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
Thanks,
So-
Big Wig.
Yeah, so if you're interested in any of the tools that we use, radius gauges, shrinking disc, all of that stuff can be found on Cornfield Customs Ltd.store, or you can go to the main website, cornfieldcustomsltd.com, and you can get to the store from there. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, of course, YouTube, TikTok. If you haven't signed up for the newsletter yet, you should do that. I always put when new products come out, and we get a monthly. You just get a monthly newsletter with everything going on in the shop, and that should come out one day this week. I just got to get finished writing it up. So, yeah.
Do you think we'll have T-shirts before Speed Week?
I am really hoping for T-shirts before Speed Week, and of course, Tom, you will get a crew T-shirt.
Oh, that'd
so
be
it'll
nice.
be like this
Yeah.
one. It'll say "Crew" on the front,
Awesome.
except instead of the salty bitch, it'll have Lyme disease on it.
Well, I saw the early design renderings, the possibilities. They all look really good.
Yeah.
So every one of them is neat. So whichever one you pick, I know. It's
Yeah,
gonna be
I told
nice.
him to just run with it. I'm like, if you
Yeah.
want to do all three, do
Yeah.
one as a T-shirt, one as a poster, and one as a sticker.
Oh yeah.
That way, it's a
Oh, the
little,
stickers are nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So lots of that new merch stuff coming out, and I told Jeff that I'm like, hey, I really want this stuff to be done before we go to Bonneville. So make sure to get it to where I can get T-shirts done, posters, stickers, all that stuff beforehand. So
When you come to Bonneville, you can pick up a T-shirt.
that's right.
That's right.
And any of the stuff you guys buy with the Lyme disease logos on it really helps everything out with the racing program, because like it's I don't want to have like a tearjerker moment, but
It's unbelievable.
it's unbelievably expensive. I mean, just for us to drive 2,200 miles,
Right.
pulling the truck and trailer, we're talking $4,000 or $5,000 in fuel, plus we have to get the race car there. Then, I like to provide for the crew members, so we buy snacks, we buy food, I try to buy dinner, all of that stuff. So it's extremely expensive to race,
The hotel
and
rooms are unbelievable.
yeah, and like again, I get it. We're racing; it's not cheap. It's my own fault. But
Bad decisions.
yeah, bad
Yeah.
decisions are made with racing. But if you guys buy T-shirts, stickers, posters, all of that stuff, it does help support the racing program. And speaking of that, we have other posters that are on sale right now for $5 a poster,
Oh, cool.
which I think is cheap. So we've got Salty Bitch posters on sale, and just the general. I forget the guy's name. He did all the artwork in the back of Street Rodder magazine, like all the
Oh,
black and white drawing.
Dave Bell.
Yeah, so we have Dave Bell style posters in stock for $5.
Yeah, those are cool.
Yeah, all of that stuff helps out the racing program. Yeah, so it's all greatly appreciated. And we do have racing sponsorship packages available, which can be in the newsletter.
Jess said she can't wait to see it run at Bonneville, and she's here for the merch. So thank
Yeah,
you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Phil says awesome, and he's headed to the store to check out Clico setups tonight.
Nice. Yep, and we
And-
do have, that's a new thing I forgot to mention. We do have starter
Phil.
packs of the Clico holders. So instead of just getting a Clico holder, you can get the starter pack. It comes with 52 Clicos, Clico pliers, drill bits,
No,
everything.
Everything.
Yeah, everything turnkey, ready to roll. So we do have those in the store. They might be a little delayed. I'm waiting on the fresh batch of Clico pliers to come in from Omtech. So that might be delayed a few days. But we do have those on the store, plenty of those in stock. So make sure to check those out.
Razor Sharp said he's running to the site now to support the program for your donated time, and that they
Thank
all
you.
appreciate it. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I mean,
Um,
and it, again, we're not trying to be a money grab, but all of this stuff does cost money. The phone, the gimbals, the microphones, the racing, all of that stuff is expensive, and all of the support we get from you guys is greatly appreciated. And even if you don't want to financially support by buying stuff through the store, if you can just share a video on Facebook, make sure to comment, like, all of that stuff goes a long way to help what we're doing.
SJR Productions want to know what color the shirts come in. They are mainly black. Are
Yeah.
you getting any white ones?
I don't know. Everybody always wants white shirts, and then we end up having white shirts left
But no
over.
one ever buys.
So yeah, we might do a pre-order of white, but mostly they're probably going to be black. I might do some crew shirts in white for us because we are at Bonneville and it's really hot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then Razor Sharp said racing is a dry well with no bottom. Correct.
exactly.
But it's fun.
It is
But
fun.
it's fun.
Yep. And
Alive.
yep,
And he said, SJR said gray? Question mark. That's
we
not-
could probably do some gray. It depends on how the
Oh, great.
artwork looks. So
Yeah.
we'll just have to see what how it looks when it
Oh,
comes
that's
in
a
in
good-
color.
Yeah.
Jess said lime green too, which is a good idea.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we got to do that.
Yeah, I don't know if
Yeah.
I can wear a lime green shirt.
You don't want. I think it depends on the color of green because
Yeah. Safety
could-
green.
It should match the car.
Yeah.
yeah, as long as it doesn't look like a booger, I think that's
That's
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions? Or we're going to wrap it up so we
I
can.
think we can wrap it up.
Cool.
Jess was the last one, and she just said LOL after that
Yep.
too.
So thank you for checking this one out. Thanks, Tom, for
Yeah,
being
thank
here.
you, guys.
And
Glad to be here today.
yeah, and maybe your kids will watch and they'll give you a hard time for something.
Yeah. Well, they're the TV experts, not me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you guys so much for checking out this live, even though we had some issues, but we'll get it figured out. So thanks for checking it out. Thanks for checking out the store, and make sure to tune in next Thursday at 5:30 for Live and Dirty at 5:30.
All right. See you guys.
Yep.
Thank
So,
you.
yeah. So we'll see you guys later.
Bye.